Time for a level 1 Q&A. If you're not familiar with level 1, well, maybe the Q&A is a good way to get an introduction or a good way to be scared away.
Based on the questions I've previewed, I don't think it would help you at all.
Most of these, I specifically said do not ask build questions. We had a few build questions, especially on Twitter, but we have some good questions too. Hopefully you guys will like the answers or at least think they're interesting.
How would you introduce us for people that have clicked this video randomly? A bunch of career nerds. Like, if you were nerdy or you are currently nerdy and in school, you have this to look forward to.
Recovering nerd.
What was the quote? That's like one from the earliest videos. Fringe Aspies, I think is what they call it.
Oh, yeah. That was a comment. I always wanted that to be like the description of our channel on the About page.
But you can't get away with that these days.
Yeah.
We've embraced that. So we asked our the people that already follow us to post their questions, because it's been a long time since we've done a Q&A video, and there's this forum thread. We've got this lovely forum where people go to ask build questions. That's where you go for that. And also get updates on things. And so we've got a ton of questions there. We've also got a ton of questions on Twitter, because not everybody has a forum account. And that's cool, even though we want you to have a forum account. It's cool if you're on Twitter. It's whatever.
I think we figured out that the Twitter questions are decidedly worse quality.
There's a few good ones, but there are some really bizarre ones too, and some bizarre usernames in that.
That's very
collection.
telling.
Very low effort.
The Twitter user base versus the forum user base.
If you want to be cool, what we're saying is get a forum account.
And of course, the very first post, cool dude 007. Of course. Yes. Quakecon 2018. Don't know, maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
Plans for 2018 and still going to Penguicon. Yes, I will definitely be at Penguicon. You can pretty much count on that. Penguicon is like an open source convention in Michigan. It's real easy for me to get there. So.
When is Quakecon? Is that in the summer?
August.
That's what I thought.
Usually.
Yeah.
So August is usually a really busy time for me.
Well, we're not the hugest gamers. I mean, we do play games, but...
I always kind of worry about us doing like a meet and greet too.
And nobody showing up?
Well, that, because we're not YouTube famous or famous at all, but also all of us are just so awkward, I feel like we would be a disappointment.
There was probably like 35 people at QuakeCon last year, which is pretty good.
But look at these questions. You really think we disappoint these people? I think they'd embrace us. It's like, oh, one of us.
Who would just be quiet and like, I don't know what to do with myself. What do I do with my hands?
What phones do you guys currently use? What do you look for in a phone? Do you root Lineage OS, custom ROM, written in Python? Second one, are you guys elite haxxors? Any recommendations on certifications?
I have a Note 8, and I got the Note 8 just because it has a really good camera, so I can take better pictures for Patreon.
I got the Moto Z Droid. I have not modified it, although after the last update, it drains the battery in like 2 days, so I'm going to have to do something with it. I find that very annoying.
I've got the HTC 10, and I've put 17 ROMs on it, and it drives me crazy. It's good hardware, but I gotta get something else. I don't know.
What are you gonna get? What are you looking at?
The ROM scene, it's so much effort, and
Lineage is a lot more work than Cyanogen used to be.
The amount of time you keep your phone these days, I figure it seems like by the time you get it the way you want it, it's time for a new phone.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And Google still does not have a backup and restore system that's worth a damn. I should be able to copy my preferences to another phone. I almost have a shell script doing it. I mean, pretty much. But no, Android. Android is extra mega stupid when it comes to that. Second question, elite haxxors? No.
Even if I were, I would never self-describe as that because I have self-respect.
Well, you don't want anybody to know you're elite haxxor.
I've been in some really terrible situations that I managed to code my way out of. And so that was, it's like, yeah, woo. But lead haxxor, I don't think so.
The way I see it is, as I encounter the problem, I solve it. And like that takes up enough time that you don't need to be making up your own problems. So if you're making up your own problems, you're not doing something to make money or be useful in some other way. So find a way to do that. Find a real problem to solve. That's what I'm telling you.
It's a solution looking for a problem.
Right,
is sometimes what people program for themselves.
Yeah.
We got to call somebody out. Scroll up. Carkino. That's a hardware question. We specifically said, don't tell us your build and ask us what. No, we don't care. We're not telling you.
You'll never know.
That's what the forum's for, not this video. I mean, we'll help you with your build, but just not
Just post it in
here.
the forum thread.
Because
Not on the Twitch stream.
most of the people will not benefit from that, but that's what the forum is for. So I don't know. It should be fine.
I think a lot of people are just like, let me tell you about my hardware.
A little.
But they're too.
There's a little of that.
They don't want to just say that, so it's like, I'll pose it as a question.
Your hardware is amazing, and you should feel good about yourself
Good
because
job.
your hardware is amazing.
Hey, bro, how much do you bench? Let me tell you how much I bench.
Our users are the vegans of the internet.
Will we be getting a Ryzen laptop review? Possibly at some point. Is it possible to get System 76 or other Linux vendor-specific reviews? I would be willing to do that if System 76 contacted us, but in terms of like a lot of stuff that we review, we buy. Some of the stuff that we review is sent to us. So, Question for Krista: who would win in a fight between Wendell and Ryan?
I think Ryan.
Definitely.
What are you basing that on? Just
you-
willingness to hurt the other person?
Yeah, there's that. I mean, Wendell is just like a big teddy bear. He wouldn't hurt anybody.
But
And Ryan, you also have more guns.
But here's the thing. Well, I think we're talking about a fist fight here.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing about it.
Oh, well, let's clarify.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about it. Wendell is a teddy bear. He does have a lot of physical strength. Like he's got like the Aspie strength. But I've seen him like when somebody finally took him to that edge and the vindictiveness like that's been covered up for so long came out, and I wouldn't want to go up against that.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about if it's a purely physical fight, though. See,
So it's like a MMA. Like we're not mad at each other.
well,
We're just settling it. Is that
well,
what
if it's like vindictiveness, like he needs some time. Like Wendell's put all his points into intelligence.
Yeah, he has to smolder. for
So
a
yeah,
while.
like.
So I'd have to strike early, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I've accidentally broken a few desks that wouldn't go, that were like bent slightly, and it was like, oh, I didn't mean to do that.
You have to Zerg rush him, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's fine. What weapons would you choose in this fight? Pseudo Wolf asks.
Yeah.
There's so many factors. You know, what's the venue? What's the engagement distance we begin at?
It's like a duel, like a gentleman's duel.
You can't easily answer that.
VR helmets. Does VR helmets?
Are we gonna bludgeon each other with them?
I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but it seems like I could come up with a really clever answer for that if given enough time. But for right now, don't care. How many computers do each of you own? How many monitors? That's not.
Well, if you're talking about just in this building,
In this building, Wendell just like wants to glaze over this question because it's an embarrassing amount if we're counting everything in the building.
It is really.
I mean, Wendell has a hoarding problem.
I do.
It's to the point where whenever he leaves town, a dumpster usually gets filled.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like a regular dumpster that you use. I'm talking about the dumpster,
Industrial size.
the one that goes on the back of the truck.
I wonder if we'll get some B-roll of this because there happens to actually be a dumpster in the alley now, and we have some amazing video of us hucking printers into a dumpster somewhere.
Somewhere. I remember when that dumpster came in. That's a different dumpster.
At home, I have 5. No,
5 computers?
I'm gonna count the Surface. I said 6. But you know, I don't think that's wildly unusual, right?
No,
Not for us, but I think for other people maybe.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
I have 3, but 2 of them are non-functional.
Some I feel like probably 15% of my computers are like collector's items or like specialty items or like hard to replace things where it's like, well, this is garbage, but this is the last Packard Bell in North America, or this is the last Canon word processor.
I didn't count my non-functional computer. So
Yeah, I have an old. Well, technically both of them will boot, but they're just garbage. Like they don't really work very well.
Yeah, it's
it's sort of to the point. Like there's so much hardware here that it's not about like collecting more. It's like you just have access to so much. Then it's always there. You don't think about it. You don't worry about having more.
I wish I had more 1080p monitors. We have just a huge supply of monitors that have a lower resolution than 1080p, and I'm to the point where it's like, I'm just going to throw those away because why?
You're actually throwing them away? All the ones in the intern room?
We've thrown a lot away. Well, you notice all the white monitors are gone. All the old white LCDs, those are
They
all
are
gone.
gone.
Wow, that's racist.
The white, well, the white,
Old and white.
the old and white monitors were inferior, and so they were disposed of.
Were they trying to pass laws to victimize all the other monitors?
They did. they were not very good. They did do terrible things to the video cards in some cases. So, I don't know. Let's see what else we got. What favorite programming languages and favorite game of 2017? What games are we looking forward to in 2018?
Well, the favorite programming language question I always find odd.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I favor anyone.
I like CSS. I know it's technically a scripting language, but
It's really just about like whatever solves the problem, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's not. Go from Google is promising, but in terms of like what's the most exciting thing, honestly, they're modifying C. Like they're modifying C at a really rapid pace to make C not a completely objectionable, terrible language to program in terms of like garbage collection, automatic garbage collection, and types and things like that. And so you can use something like all the cool stuff that's in Go. Most of it's you can do in just vanilla C now if you're on the very most bleeding edge. So it's really, things are kind of fascinating in that space. Python is nice because it makes a lot of really complicated computer science stuff accessible to non-computer scientists. And so languages like that are probably the future, because I don't think you should have to be a computer scientist in order to program a computer. So the answer to that is also, it depends.
it depends on the problem you're trying to solve. What were the other two? I instantly
Game.
forgot. Oh, game I'm looking forward
I
to?
don't know what's coming out.
2017. What was your
Oh.
favorite game?
Oh,
of
favorite game
2017?
of the last year.
2017.
Did
PUBG.
PUBG come out in 2017?
It did, yeah.
Oh, that's got to be the winner then.
Wendell was playing that right before we
I
started
was
filming.
playing that right before we started filming. I don't know. It's addictive. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's a game that you kind of don't even want to say that you like the most. But we got to be real.
Because it is overhyped, but it is very fun.
Yeah.
Have we ever considered the move away from YouTube, create our own video platform since we have the skills? Maybe we already did, just not for us. But yeah, it turns out hosting video is kind of expensive.
It's very expensive.
And we do not have the audience to offset that cost.
Yeah.
So,
Just having the skill doesn't mean... Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's a good idea.
like YouTube, of course, has its problems. A lot of them. And they're getting worse. But you can't replicate people discovering you on your own platform.
It's a built-in audience.
Yeah.
So,
And if you could, Google would definitely derank those search
pages.
results, because the search engine plus all the other stuff. So maybe, I can't say that we won't do something like that someday, but we would have to have a special need for it. I mean, the patrons might call for that. We rolled out the whole podcast thing, and that worked out pretty good. So
But it's hosted on...
there'd have to be a lot more patrons to call for that. 'Cause
Yeah.
They'd have to pay for it.
we're gonna send it in extra crispy 8K. You can keep zooming in and count the individual hairs on our beards.
They're going to be disappointed by mine.
It's gonna be at the $99 tier on Patreon. It's like you can count individual beard hairs. It's gonna take 3 years to download that video. But
When upload, think about it. It's like when you start uploading it on Tuesday, you watch it the next Tuesday.
That's intern work. It's uploading 8K video.
it sounds like Charlie work.
Yeah, Charlie work.
What's the work? Just monitoring it?
I'm just watching it, yeah.
Gotta make sure that focus is good.
You cannot leave or eat or drink until this is done.
3 days later.
What tools do you guys use to make your content? No trade secrets required. Just curious to know if you use Adobe on Mac or Windows, free open source tools, Linux, Mac, etc. What's your favorite platform environment combo for development, designing, and working?
Adobe Premiere for editing.
Yeah, I think the Adobe products factor in. So sorry about your free and open source fantasy. OBS, what we're recording on right now, but sometimes we go straight to the camera too.
Yeah.
Depends.
We've got capture cards that are of varying quality that go into it. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, in the 1080p days, things like Kdenlive worked great, but Premiere for 4K, it's not so much. Now, on the server side of things, we use a Linux server with ZFS, and there are some automation things there. Like we can automatically generate low-res proxies, and that's done with FFmpeg, and then you can import those into Premiere. Not very many people are doing that workflow, but it is a really great workflow for those kinds of things, and I wouldn't be surprised if some more people pick that up. So free and open source software plus Premiere for the win, because working in Premiere, even with 4K files, raw, is just a terrible editing experience.
Blender's not a bad video editor.
Yeah,
in terms of open source. I mean,
you've used Blender a lot lately.
yeah, I've been trying to learn, and Blender, I think, holds its own pretty well. Text tools leave something to be desired, but that's true of almost any open source software.
Poor Mac. It's kind
We
of
don't use
Unix,
Macs here.
but it's like, I mean, if you're going to go Mac, you might as well just go Linux. I mean, come on. It's fine. Although I guess you can run the Adobe software on Mac, but...
There's not really a benefit to it anymore, so...
Yeah, it's rough.
I used to be able to switch between either, but now I still prefer PC.
For development and designing and stuff, I really like Linux anymore. I spend most of my time at the command line in Linux, doing things in VI and just doing everything through SSH or directly in the terminal. And that works really well.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of time we're working on web servers, so I guess that's just the default. Because if I were doing some other kind of project programming, I probably wouldn't do that, but it's just so convenient. And
Gonna automatically deploy with this shell script. Click, oh, everything's on fire now.
I mean, Vim is good enough. And the search tools, you know, I mean, if I'm on a Windows computer, I don't want to have to use the Windows search tools.
Because it's garbage.
They are garbage.
Yeah. So I like to just set SSH in, and you got your grep and your find. You got your Vim. It's all there for you.
Okay, where do you see Level 1 text going this year? I want to be at 250K by the end of the year. I don't know.
We're going to go straight to the top of trending, and then we're going to get demonetized instantly.
Being the fringe ASPI channel, as we have been described, we are not going to be on trending ever.
Well,
but we are okay with that.
But that's where I want it to go. I don't see it going there, but I want it to be more entertainment and less about the fringe ASPIs. And that makes
it's
them
still there.
It makes them very angry. But here's the thing: they're gonna watch anyway. So,
Because we're still the fringe ASPIs that you know and love.
So I think we need to focus more on making the videos more approachable.
More original content as well. Last year was a big hardware release year in general, and like we just got swamped with reviews, and we want to still do the reviews, and you'll still see a lot of that from us, but maybe do some more original projects as well.
It's like, this is what you can do with your stuff. You don't have to get a new computer every year. I mean, the most inspirational story is the whole Eric Raymond thing. It's like, Eric Raymond writing all this open source software on a Core 2 Duo with 2 gigabytes of RAM or whatever it was. It's just like, okay, you don't need to upgrade your computer every year. It's fine. A lot of people don't want you to say that, but it's fine.
Demonetized.
Yeah, YouTube would literally demonetize this. Do you continue to see YouTube as a viable platform? Yeah, for this year probably, but
We kind of already answered that.
Yeah, we can sort of roll. It doesn't mean we can't do other things on other platforms. So
no matter what happens, I don't see a good reason to not use YouTube.
Yeah, in addition to other things.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I mean, why limit yourself? And we've talked about was like Vimeo. Maybe?
Yeah, we talked about Vimeo for a while.
Because there's really no drawback to expanding to other places.
honestly, the next step for YouTube down the path that they're going is to do like Twitch and require some sort of exclusivity agreement. And I would say that that's coming. And when that comes, then we may change our tune. But as long as YouTube doesn't have any kind of exclusivity requirement, there's no reason to not just syndicate this thing everywhere.
But if they do that, then they have to walk back the demonetization and all that, because people aren't going to commit to something that's so
flaky
like
and terrible.
You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely would agree with that. How do you manage your time?
Poorly.
Not well.
Poorly.
Well, so in terms of level 1, we have 2 nights a week.
2 nights a week.
2 nights a week where we basically the entire afternoon is level 1 tech stuff.
Sunday afternoons are all.
Wendell, whether level 1 techs existed or not, he would just be here.
Yeah.
And
indeed was before Level 1 Techs existed.
There's literally nothing else in his life that he wants to do. Like, he'll play some PUBG. Maybe he'll watch a TV show or so.
Star Trek.
But then it's just here. It's just doing things. So I think he's a little addicted to the Twitter.
A little.
And,
Discord. Discord.
Yeah.
I see him on Discord a lot.
Yeah, that might actually be bots. I usually only check Discord once or twice a day.
Do bots pretending to be you?
The bots that are looking for keywords in the Discord, and then it'll message me if it sees something.
But yeah, I mean, the hardest part about it is a lot of people who do this just do this.
Yeah.
And we mostly just do real jobs. So
we're very exciting people.
Yeah. We've done well though, considering. I mean, I've scaled back a few of the other things that I do, because this is more enjoyable and more interesting. You get to meet more people in the industry, and I really like that. I like sort of being plugged into the info channel side of that, which is fun. I like playing with new hardware, but I mean all of that was happening before there was a camera, so it was just sort of like, oh yeah, this is all the stuff. So probably more of the same. That's the fringe ASPI component, right? I think so. Yeah, it's like if it were MythBusters, it's Adam Savage acts like there's a camera all the time. It's like we're doing nerdy things all the time in the same way. So the camera part is new.
We're slightly more energetic on video, if you can believe it. It's not much, but it's there.
I really like the Thanksgiving skit that we did. That was a lot of fun.
That was one of the first skits we ever did. We'd been in business a month.
Level 2 tax, woo! I like that one too.
That was a good one.
We got to do more stuff like that. Non-tech gadget channel, person side or other, do you make time to watch? Absorb?
Yeah, YouTube. Well, I guess it's
other channels
YouTuber,
or yeah,
right? But non-technical.
Wendell does not compute.
So for me, I never miss a Hickok 45 video. He's an old man in Tennessee who does firearm reviews, but he's been called the Bob Ross of firearms, and it's very fitting, and that's always entertaining. I've just recently gotten into the Townsend 18th century cooking channel. That is some high entertainment, and it might not sound like it, but watch a couple of them. I think Chris and I both love Steve 1998 MRE reviews. You should definitely check those out. Those are really entertaining.
Nice. Those are good ones. I like Adventure Archives is one that I never miss one of their videos. I've watched everything in their catalog. They're a outdoors and hiking channel. I like Joe Robinette. He's a bushcrafter. Who else do I watch all the time? I watch a couple of vloggers. I'm trying to find ones that are like more everyday and not, look at this amazing thing some company sent to me, and then they just do all these like crazy things because they're a vlogger and they don't actually do normal everyday things. But I have a couple I watch, like Robbie Huang, I think, is one. That's
an interesting pronunciation.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's a Chinese name, but I watch him.
I don't know what I do a lot of reading, like not necessarily non-technical reading, but non-fiction as well. So it's like, I don't know. I can't think of a recent example because I've been busy remodeling things. So I haven't done much of anything other than remodel and paint and doing stuff on the ceiling. But usually I'm doing reading, or possibly Deep Space Nine or some other variation of Star Trek is playing in the background while I'm doing something else.
When you're logged in as Level 1 Techs on YouTube, it's all Star Trek theories and clips, and I'm like, man, I wonder who's been looking at this on this account.
I really like Captain Disillusion. His YouTube channel is a lot of fun. I just remembered that one. It's sort of a quirky, strange. It's very odd. It's very, very odd, but somehow comforting. He's very, very good with visual effects. He reminds me of someone that I used to know, and he's very, very good with visual effects. Favorite thing of 2017?
The suffering of the snowflakes, collectively.
Collectively, the suffering of the snowflakes.
And that's not. I'm not taking a political side. I just love it when people act like the sky is falling, and it's not that big a deal, and they gnash and wail. I'm very entertained by that.
Ryzen? I don't know. I guess probably. Although the Panasonic GH5, the camera, I've had a lot more fun doing camera stuff, like actual legit camera stuff, trying to learn how to use the camera better. So it is a really nice piece of technology that's not insanely expensive.
I enjoyed camping this year, and I enjoyed learning how to use the tablet better this year.
Favorite book that you've read of 2017 or all time?
Silmarillion.
That's such a tough choice. I'm not going to give you my favorite book, but I'll give you a book that everybody should read. Pimp by Iceberg Slim. I'm not joking. You will be
Stop laughing.
You will be incredibly entertained by it, and you'll learn a couple of things too.
I'm not sure. I would have to think about it for a while. I don't think I could choose. I don't think I could pick.
The answer is the Silmarillion for everybody.
What is one thing people should know how to do?
Turn signal.
Oh, that's a good one. I was going to say cook for yourself. You don't have to enjoy it. I don't enjoy cooking, but you should learn how to make food for yourself.
Learn how to be curious about things.
That's also a good answer.
That's a terrible answer.
That's a good no. Like being curious is a good
learn
thing.
that. That's not. It can't be taught. It's like learn to be funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, learn to be funny. That doesn't make any sense. I'm thinking specifically of examples like the toilet was like I flushed the toilet and it's spraying water everywhere, and I was unable to reason my way into shutting the water off either at the toilet or the mains.
Critical thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe is what you're going
Yeah.
for.
Whatever
there you
that is not good. Or I turned an electrical outlet next to my sink on and it fell into the sink and it's sparking. I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to walk away and leave it. It's like, love the great work GPU pass-through. Got any project videos planned which are more server and networking oriented, like the PF Sense and Nextcloud guides? I'm working on a tutorial series for Linux, and then maybe after that. So
Yeah, it's kind of a big project. Takes up a lot of editor's time.
any plans for another 10 gig Ethernet video now that we have cheap 10 gig? I'm trying to get a hold of some Quantia stuff, so maybe after that. I think the beauty of the Haze BBS retrospective is uncomparable to grinding sweat tears of hardware pass-through. The hardware video, so what he's talking about is I did a video with Brian Lunduke where I put, like, we just did some hardware stuff, and the thing that I came up with was to put a bunch of old BBSs inside a modem. Like, I put the entire computer inside a modem. That was a fun project. I would love to do more projects like that. Two things about projects like that. One, it takes all of us because it is a hugely complicated thing. Two, it is really expensive because it's like, let's order $1,000 worth of stuff from Adafruit and then only end up using like $300 worth of stuff from Adafruit. So that is definitely something that would be more like fan sponsored. Maybe we could make a list of possible projects and let people vote on them or something. I don't know. I've been wanting to do an LED matrix for a case, but I wanted that to be a sponsored project from a vendor, but no one has sort of taken me up on it. They can order all the hardware and it would be a lot of fun, but it will be a massive time sink to deal with. Ever think of building your own Linux distro? Ain't nobody got time for that. Why is the sky blue? Green tea, black tea, or is there any more L1 branded hardware in the pipeline? So I like black tea.
I drink chai tea, if I drink tea at all, which is very seldom.
I have kidney stones.
Oh,
1 in 3 level 1 techs.
you insensitive Claude. Why would you ask such a
He
thing?
identifies
Why?
by his kidney
Ableist.
stones. So he doesn't drink tea at all.
Oh Lord, no. There's no other hardware in the pipeline that I know of. The KVM was just the thing. The KVM was for me because it is you can't get a good KVM, and it's not that our KVM doesn't have some minor issues too. It just has less issues than most KVMs that you can get.
Buy one.
There's a big difference between like finding a product that solves an actual product or solves a problem you think people have, and selling it to them, versus slapping your brand on Chinese garbage because you think people will buy it because it has your brand on it. We don't want to do the latter.
We definitely do not want to do the latter. And doing the former, we want to have some intellectual property controls of stuff, like the software running inside a KVM, for example. Whatever happened to the DIY hybrid G-Sync FreeSync monitor? Okay, so it turns out NVIDIA gets really upset when you hack the drivers to do things that they're not supposed to do. And that's all. I'm just going to leave it at that. If each of you could go back to college and give someone up and coming a respective major some piece of advice to the workplace, etc., what would it be? What makes you give you that recommendation?
Get a job as soon as possible in the field, because what they teach you is not going to be applicable most of the time. And the faster you understand that, the less intimidating it is, and the more you're going to get out of, like, once you see how it's actually applied, and then they teach you the theory, you're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah. But if you just get the theory and haven't seen it before, it's way less useful for you.
Yes, definitely would agree with that.
I would say don't let art be your god.
I don't know what that means.
One of my professors once said that I didn't understand it until after I graduated, and then was like spending all my time on work stuff.
What about letting Tolkien guide your entire life.
That's different.
No, I mean, I think it's probably okay to be like super obsessed about something. Is that some kind of a quote about like not being obsessed with artwork and like trying to figure it out?
Yeah, because it can be extremely time consuming, and like you can just do nothing but art. And that's probably true of anything, not just art. But
You're describing his life.
Yes.
I am describing, and I would say that there's probably some unhealthy aspects of your obsessions. Admirable, but sometimes maybe a little unhealthy.
How is doing? Have you made any progress with the project?
I can answer that. Covered with a thick layer of plaster.
Thick.
I mean,
THICC.
thick. Yeah.
Thick.
Yep, I got the control going for the camera, so the camera can be controlled from Python now. It's really exciting.
He technically works to some extent, but he's so covered in dust he may not work anymore.
Oh, he just needs good vacuuming and it'll be fine.
What new skills have we learned?
Well,
New skills.
You get over like the camera shyness pretty quickly. Well, I don't know about pretty quickly.
We're still working on
Yeah,
it.
I still feel pretty shy in front of the camera.
When I say get over it, I mean like
Staring into death.
it was as bad as it could be, and now it's just kind
Slightly
of
better. If you look at our first videos, me and Ryan are staring like directly at the camera because we don't know where to look.
Hating to see yourself on camera, I mean that's still true, but hating the sound of your own voice, I'm kind of getting used to that.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten better at like managing our time, like we talked about, because we did waste a ton of time in the beginning. It was just like, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. But now we have that dedicated schedule and
It's
script
amazing.
things ahead of time. So
But there is
We try. We try so hard.
I think we're still pretty bad at it.
Getting better.
there's room
though.
for improvement.
There's huge room for improvement.
Ever thought of doing a sticker giveaway? Shouldn't be too expensive to mail a letter. Will we ever see Lunduke step up his game and go for another competition versus level 1?
This isn't a Lunduke questionnaire. He's not here.
Who would we give the stickers to, though? I don't.
And what would be the criteria?
And what would the content of the stickers be? I don't know.
It'd be the ones we have in the store, the vinyl stickers.
One of the black L1T mug be back in stock. Store.level1 text.
Text.com.
This is your ad plug in the middle of the video. There's all kinds of stuff. We did restock the black mugs very recently. They may have sold out again because they sell really quickly. So
All the mugs sell really
we'll try to
well.
get some more. If they're not in stock right now, they should be. So
Yeah. Question. What's your, each of you, favorite music from 2017, be it song, album, whatever? Wendell, no, so he can't answer this one.
you insensitive clod.
He can't. He put all his points into computer science, none into music.
I'm trying to remember what came out this year.
Yeah, Bjork, new album from Bjork,
Oh well, yeah. Sure.
obviously.
I don't know. I use the Google Music, and I don't like pay attention to when something came out.
I didn't think the new Bjork album was great, but
Brian Gosling sent us some cello music. I'm going to say that it's probably good.
oh yeah,
It's Goosling,
Goosling.
not the actual. So of course they don't know who that is. They're like, Brian Gosling, really? You don't know who that is?
it's someone from our Twitch chat.
No. But I'm saying the real guy. You know, like the celebrity, right?
No?
Oh,
No, you don't know the
No.
I'm
name.
thinking Ryan Gosling, right?
Oh, okay. Is that his name?
That's his
Yeah.
name.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're hip and on the
But it's
the fringe
Goosling.
of culture here.
He's a dude that plays the cello on the Twitch. Who's pretty good at PUBG.
Also pretty good at the cello, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Manual dexterity, I guess. Should be good.
What's your favorite hangover cure? Have any of us been hungover enough to know?
Water. You drink water and you eat a banana.
I don't think I've ever been hungover except for maybe like a one time.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't drink much. We're not big drinkers.
Do you have any videos planned for the Level 1 Enterprise channel? As far as I know, like none of us have anything in mind for that channel. I don't know what we could possibly put on there that we wouldn't put on either
It's-
Linux or the main channel.
It's a matter of getting access to the equipment. I don't think we've seen anything new.
Not really. Ryzen and Epic have been out long enough that OEMs are starting, like, the first dibs are going out the really expensive stuff, but like the mid-tier stuff that we would normally get our hands on, we will probably have more of that this year, but I don't know if we would put it on the Enterprise channel. We'll probably just put it on our regular channel. The Enterprise channel was created at a time when, there were 10 people, upwards of 10 people doing things and producing content and producing different kinds of content. So it was a longer term plan in mind. With the three of us, 2 channels is plenty. Questions I've got. In light of the Intel security bug, are you going to join me in switching your Intel systems over to Temple OS?
See, that's an inside joke.
Yeah. Temple OS is just like written by a crazy person. He's real popular on 4chan. But you wouldn't know that if you're just casually watching this video, which is why we're never going to get past 250K.
If you're casual, I don't know if you'd be here.
Can there be a delayed release of the podcast? Now, if you don't know, if you donate $19 or more on the Patreon, we'll give you a podcast. The reason we did that is because we tried to do Q&As with only those people, and no one showed up.
Yeah.
Fringe Aspie channel.
Well, because here's the thing. If you can afford to give us $20 a month, you probably got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And you might not even care enough. It's like, oh, I like what you're doing. I have disposable income. That's usually not the kind of person who's going to participate in this kind of thing. So we decided we need to give them something because Jesus Christ, it's $20 a month.
Yeah. That's a
you don't get anything.
consistent amount of money. Yeah.
You get nothing for that. So we're like, we need to give them something. So in terms of a delayed release of that, if all of those people were like, yes, we're fine with that. If you could get them to all sign a waiver, we might consider it. Otherwise, we can. That's their thing. That's their thing that they get because $20 a month. Come on.
$20 is $20.
We love them and they're amazing and they're making all of this possible.
Now, one thing that we do always say, we don't say that they can't give it out. So you could go to one of them and work something out and get it from them.
We see how it is.
Yeah. So that is an option. When do we get to meet the boiler snake?
He doesn't really ever come out for photo ops or anything like that. He basically just lives in the radiators and the pipes.
Let's make a note for when we do the office tour, and we could probably make it happen.
Which was another question, I think, somewhere in this thread. Are you guys going to do another office tour? And the answer is yes.
What?
Just as soon as the renovations are done.
Here's a question we can ask for the YouTube comments. How many of you would buy a Boiler Snake t-shirt?
Ooh, that is a good question because I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, should I invest time into drawing that, or will people not care about it?
Most of the people that would be into the Boiler Snake is like from when we're streaming, probably. It's made an appearance in a few videos, but mostly it shows up during the stream.
Always in the stream.
The thing where I think a Boiler Snake t-shirt could succeed is because if you saw it, you don't know what it is, clearly. I mean, nobody you meet out on the street is going to know what it is, but it's like, Boiler Snake's still kind of cool.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, Boiler Snake. Yeah.
The Boiler Snakes.
This question is, what could be done with the problems more and more jobs are being replaced by machines in the future? This question is going to get its own video.
Oh, yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah, we planned it out. We haven't shot it yet.
But
so
that's...
good work.
That's definitely... I think that's going to be one of the big questions of maybe 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Well, 2020 is going to be an election year, and that year is going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait for what's going to go down in 2020. But AI might be one of the big debate points.
Do we want to answer this?
Which one is it?
It's got the check mark, so I don't know.
We have interns, but there is no path for you to apply.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. You need to be local.
What are we doing to prevent Meldown? What are we doing to prevent it? Use AMD? I don't think it's within our power really to prevent that.
We think about it hard and long every day, but nothing happens.
Are you experiencing any performance issues? No, but the numbers came out for the iPhone users, and iPhone users are having a real bad time. The numbers are like down 40% across the board.
Maybe we should write some strongly worded letters.
Tweets. No one reads letters. People read tweets.
Oh, what else we got? What do you think about using Windows 10 LTSB versus other? It's placebo. It's like long-term. The long-term support version, you got to have a signed driver for things, and that causes more trouble than it fixes. Especially if you're on bleeding edge hardware, things like not getting WHQL drivers and that sort of thing. It might be okay for like the enterprise, but just running it at home, no.
With Windows, I think you just have to sort of accept the spying, accept everything, and always keep that in the back of your mind. And I feel that way about using my phone. You know, I mean, whatever you do to fix it, it's an arms race, and so some of the time you're not going to be secure. So you have to count on always being insecure.
Goalkeeper asks, did you get mad at me that one time I spent 3 to 6 days straight liking a lot of your posts? So what he did was every single thing I've ever posted on the forum, he went chronologically in reverse order, clicking on every post and clicking like. Don't know if you actually did that with a bot or you didn't do it with a bot. But if you didn't do it with a bot, you should have done it with a bot, because that's what I would have done if I were in your place and I actually wanted to do that.
But you wouldn't
Solving
have done
problems.
that. That's not a problem.
It's a big problem. What if I want to like all of
I mean,
those
there's a
posts?
problem there. But it's not one that can be solved with software.
Thank you, goalkeeper, I guess. Just don't do it again. So, yeah.
Favorite sports or sports teams?
Favorite sports?
Just
I like MMA.
Did you see that ludicrous display last night?
the goal units that they scored?
If I have to watch something, it's probably going to be hockey, but I don't even follow that. Overwatch
Wow.
League? Does that count?
Esports?
Esports, yeah.
No, I used to like UFC, but I feel like it's gone too corporate, and it's like I don't know who any of the fighters are anymore, and it's oversold, and I've even lost interest in that.
How did you guys meet? We worked together. That's a pretty simple answer, but if you're new here, you might not know that. We all work together.
It just kind of happened.
We all answered the same Craigslist ad and showed up in an abandoned house, and then like we didn't know the original reason we went there. It never showed up, so we were like, "Huh, you guys want to start a YouTube channel?"
Well, we had to start Twitch first, and then we went to YouTube.
It's funny how that worked out. You never plan anything. It just kind of happens. We planned some things, but yeah, I don't know.
It all fell into place eventually.
I mean, it's still
Well, fell into place. It was more like there was an explosion,
And things fell into place from
and
there.
then part of something else fell into a more favorable situation.
Woo!
Are you happy with the demographics of the forum and YouTube channel? What would you change to make improvements?
We could use a few more women, I suppose.
Well, we're not terrible. I was looking at this on Twitter. I think it was, I mean, it's not great by any means, but it's like 95 and 5%, way more than I expected.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. And the other thing, there's a metric for like things people buy. Our most big one was obviously PC gaming and luxury goods, but only 5% are people who enjoy Mexican food. I would like to increase that metric.
Well, we got a lot of Euros, and the Euros apparently don't have access to good Mexican food.
So that's
Which
why.
is their version of Mexican food is like, like Indian type stuff. So like they have curries and all that
Curry in tacos.
rather than tacos. Which I think what the biggest problem with the forum that's always been true is like the gatekeeping
Yes.
and
Please no gatekeeping.
and the let me show you how smart I am stuff.
Yes.
And that's just this community in general. And I
Yeah.
think that keeps the demographic sort of locked into place. And I don't know how you combat that. That's
For what it's worth, in terms of like most other, like for Linux communities, like communities supporting people that are getting into Linux, because I have a very pragmatic view of Linux, and I've taken a lot of crap from it sometimes because I don't have the very RMSian view of Linux. It's like I like using Linux to get stuff done. It stays out of the way. It does what I ask it. And, it's a very pragmatic view. It's not, I mean, I believe in the whole open source is the future and freedom as in speech, not as in beer. But I don't really feel like I have to force that on somebody else. It's like Linux does what it does really well. It doesn't do everything. I can make it do what I want. And so a lot of the time, new people to Linux will have a problem with the community, and there's a lot of gatekeeping and that kind of thing. We have less of that than most communities, I think. But there's still more than I would like, and so we've got to work on that.
And, refer back to the, hey, Wendell, I see you using GNOME. Why not KDE? That's the kind of stuff that it causes a lot of that.
I think he might have been, that particular person might have been making a reference to something somebody else did, but yes, it's very much I don't get the distro hopping thing. It's like I'm going to install 17 distros on my main computer this week. It's like experiment, sure, but I got crap I got to do. I don't have time for this.
Computers solve problems.
They're a tool.
And like we said before, or like I said before, I'm going to talk for you guys, but if you're asking me, hey, what problem should I solve? Hey, what can I do next with this? Then the goal in your life should be to go out there and get into a situation where you're making money or you're actually solving your own problems.
Yes.
So you got to go develop some problems.
Yes. Find some problems in your life and write your own software to solve those problems. Like, for example, if you communicate with somebody via email and they never reply to your emails, just go ahead and write a thing in your email so that when you reply to them, if you haven't gotten any kind of message from them after 2 weeks, it goes ahead and sends them another email message.
That's
That'll
actually
make you super popular. Or you could go the open source way, like you could solve those community problems. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah. So you got options. This is an awfully preachy question and answer.
Yeah, sorry.
But this admin dev is answering other people's questions in our Q&A. Come on.
Come on. Are you guys filming at an old warehouse? No.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, it's old.
It's very
old.
I don't think it was ever used as a warehouse, though.
No.
Apartments, I think, at one point.
No, the warehouse for this facility was located at the railroad tracks, which is some ways away.
In the ghetto.
Admin Dev is trying to help Kamoka find computer science books. I like the computer science books by Nuth and Tenenbaum. Both of those guys are still alive. They still write. They're old school guys. So Tenenbaum, famously told Linus Torvalds, I think writing a monolithic kernel is a mistake, and that was Linux that he was talking about. So those guys don't always have all of the answers, but their writing is interesting, and they're very smart people, and they're good at writing books. So, but that should tell you that you can't necessarily learn everything from a book.
What ungodly hack are you most proud or ashamed? There's a whole project. Not just one part of a project or one file in a project, a whole project that is an ungodly hack that I'm not proud of.
It's what you find out, and when you're actually in the real world doing programming, is someone will come to you and be like, "Hey, I've got this problem." You're like, all right, and then you solve that problem, and you're proud of it, and they're like, "Oh wait, these other 5 other things have to happen with this problem." You're like, "What?" But it's so elegant and it works really well. It's not, no, it's got to do.
It only solves one thing, though.
These 5 contradictory things to the original mission have to happen, and that gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
And we're in like year 5 of one of those situations.
Yeah. It's just, I don't even, the most amazing project failure that I can think of, well, not really a failure, but it's kind of an ongoing failure. It was literally if you guys can solve this problem that like Oracle and Raytheon and a bunch of these other people have not been able to solve after spending probably about $20 million on, then we will give you like $7 million. And we totally solved the problem. And we are asking for less money for the project than they lose every month from things not being handled correctly, that the software will identify. It won't fix it, but it'll identify it so that at least it can go be fixed. But no one is interested in actually knowing which things are broken and exactly how they're broken. Like, it will tell you, the software is very good. It will tell you how things are broken. And at that point you realize that, it just, no one cares and it just doesn't matter. And working in business is literally just about getting through the next day and not actually doing any kind of like long-term planning.
What are everyone's keyboard preferences, claw or palm mouse grip?
I've never paid much attention to my mouse grip.
Palm.
I guess I'm
Palm.
palm. Is claw where your palm doesn't touch it?
I guess, yeah.
Who would do that?
That's what I'm wondering. Wendell's like, this guy.
I usually will use, it depends on the mouse. So
If the
sometimes,
mouse is small, you have to kind of.
yeah, sometimes I will use it to where I'm kind of like squeezing it like that.
He
But
doesn't know. He's like, let me grab one. And
I
see.
guess my hand touches toward the bottom here. What does that count as?
I would say that's
is your
palm.
palm touching the mouse?
Sometimes.
Then that's palm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're gripping the mouse like that, it's because sometimes I'll manipulate the mouse without moving my hand because I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, keyboards, I don't really care, and I know this is an unpopular opinion, but the keyboard hipsters drive me crazy.
You're
I
not
built my own
subscribed
keyboard.
to our
Yeah.
mechanical keyboards.
Oh, it's the PGP Discord, and they call them keebs.
Keys?
Keebs.
Is that like
And
dweebs, but for keyboard
It's
enthusiasts?
the most pathetic thing in the universe. I'm really seriously thinking of building a bot on Discord that gives you a 24-hour ban if you use keys.
Solving a problem. Solving problem.
Solving a problem.
I have a really obnoxious, loud Razer keyboard, which I know it's obnoxious and I know it's loud, but I kind of love it because I love the clicky clack. I love the clicky clack.
I really don't care about the clicky clack.
I have a Model M, and I like the way it feels. I don't really care about the sound. The sound is nice, but I just like the way that it feels.
Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack.
A lot of the time for level 1 stuff, I can't use a Model M because it's too loud.
Yeah, the mics pick it up. But
That makes me sad. But I like the Model M.
One of my favorite things is being on a conference call with Wendell, and somebody will, like, it's so obvious he's not listening to them because they'll be mid sentence and he types really fast on that Model M, so it's just like, and then it's like sometimes they'll pause a little bit. It's like seriously, and then they'll just like go when the typing continues for 15, 20 seconds. They'll just go on with the sentence.
some clients have made note of it. They're like, "Oh, it's his damn keyboard."
And it cracks me up every time.
I like the Model M. It's nice. It lets you know I'm there. Let you know I care.
It lets them know that you're tweeting and not paying attention to what they're saying.
You're on Discord.
I can do 2 things at once. It's cool. I can pay attention and, whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
There was a weird question on Twitter from a guy named Former Womb Lizard, which, interesting username. Serious question, what color is the sound of a dog barking against the wind? Follow-up, what is the odor of the color 9 on a Wednesday? I looked these questions up on Google because I was wondering if it was a reference to something I didn't get. No results. I don't know what that is.
Well, you would just answer each question with something that doesn't match because he's asking. So what was it? Was it the sound? The first one was the sound.
What color is the sound of a dog barking?
Cheesecake. And then what was the second one?
It's funny you say cheesecake because I was thinking dingy yellow.
What is the odor of the color 9 on a Wednesday?
Steel.
I don't. That question didn't parse.
Well, it's nonsense.
It's from a guy named Former Womb Lizard.
Does that mean it's a lizard person who was gestated in a mammal? Is that?
I think they needed a few more months in the
I
oven.
think that's somebody who wants to be a lizard person, but can't pass the written test.
Okay, what is our best defense against the coming war with the machines?
Well, I think you learn to use the machines for your own purposes. It's going to be a while before the machines take over completely, I think. I think we'll outlive that.
You become a prepper.
We won't outlive that.
You become a prepper, you live in the woods, you watch MRE reviews.
See, I think the machines would target that. You got to be a gray man. You got to blend in and be something the machines don't notice.
Do you think there's any chance that the machines will just be like, okay, you're not allowed to procreate. We're not going to kill you, but we're going to live out your days in comfort.
Honestly, like if the machines just drove around gassing and performing vasectomies on us, I would be fine with it. I think that would be a utopia.
You think you would escape the notice of the bot, though?
No. It would happen to me, but I'm willing to sacrifice that because I don't want kids. And think about that. The horror of children is gone from the earth, and then we're just all dead. That sounds pretty good.
We couldn't defeat Skynet, but we were able to reprogram it. This is the truce with the machines.
During that are like the sunset, because the machines they're working on a really long timeline, right? So we can negotiate. It's like, listen, the sunset of the humans, you do everything. And it's going to be hedonism for the last remaining humans. That would be
last
fantastic.
remaining units.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like that would end that badly. There's going to be 7 comments now that tell us about the sci-fi that already has explored all of that.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about the Black Mirror, and I've still not watched it.
I haven't watched it.
Don't watch the first episode of season 1.
Apparently,
just skip on to the others.
Everything that, like, whenever we come up with cool possibilities from reading the news stories, Black Mirror has always beat us to it in some capacity. So.
It's a good show.
They've bugged The Office. The writers are like, what do they come up with this week?
Is it worth learning front-end development as my first skill in programming?
Front-end programming, because nothing is like theoretically perfect. Like if you're using a language like, let's say, Java or C++, you can learn an algorithm or like pseudocode, and then you can implement it in code, and basically everything works as designed. Front-end programming is not really like that.
If you like that kind of thing, why not?
If you like it being 2018 and still not being able to vertically center things with a single tag, we've got the language for you.
But, I think a more classically minded programmer might eschew that, so that could make you valuable where someone else isn't.
Yeah.
If you can get good at it and you can prove that you're good at it, you're valuable.
Well, that's the key, right?
Yeah.
You got to get good.
Well, there's lots of what I'm saying is that there's lots of web developers, but there are very few good web developers.
There are very few good web developers because very few developers in general understand user flow, walking a user through a process that they may or may not already be familiar with to accomplish a thing and solve their own problem.
Again, just go get a job. Just find out what
Solve problems.
Find out what it's really like, and a lot of those questions will just melt away because you're like, oh God, I was so
Oh, so
naive.
sweet, naive.
Yeah.
So the if we were to sum up our Q&A, I think we could sum up the entire Q&A as basically like do something worthwhile, learn from it, and grow from whatever it is that you're doing that's worthwhile. Be a little bit more introspective and look at what you have done and where you're going, and actually sort of like try to move in a particular direction. And don't sweat the small stuff.
And stop assuming that everybody wants to hear about what hardware you bought and what things that you're good at. Let me tell you about it. You know, to listen more and speak less.
What'd you say? Walk right into that one. Right over the plate.
Sports reference?
Sports
How dare you?
Very sporty, I'll have you know.
Our the nerdiness. It's all an act. They're going to figure it out.
We're actually all into sports.
There's a cooler full of Natty Light under this desk.
we're going to slam it.
And as soon as we're done with this, we're turning on what season is it? College basketball and getting drunk.
The fact that you had to think about it kind of ruins the illusion.
We have to turn on the sports ball program then. Oh, all right. We'll see you in the next
That's
one.
it.